Hey guys, and welcome to the end of the year book tag. I know I'm doing this pretty late. November is about to be over. Realistically, it would have been nicer to have done this a couple months ago, but better late than never. This tag was originally created by Ariel Bazette. I will go ahead and leave a link to her YouTube channel below if you want to check her out. So there's just a few questions all having to relate with reading, end of the year plans, and plans for next year that I thought would be really fun to talk with you guys about, so you can see kind of where I'm going to be going for the last month or so that's left of this year so far. The first question is, are there any books that you started this year that you still need to finish? I'm usually pretty good about always finishing a book once I've started it. Either I'll finish it all the way through, or I'll decide that I don't want to finish it and I'll get rid of it. But this year, for the first time, I have actually a few books that I've started and set down for one reason or other and I haven't completed. I have 3 of those right now to talk to you guys about. Now, these aren't books that I'm currently reading that I need to finish. These are books that I've actually started and stopped, but I'm going to come back to. So the most recent one is Bookworm, a memoir of childhood reading by Lucy Mangan. This one is a nonfiction book all about the author's relationship with reading when she was a child. I started this at the beginning of Nonfiction November, the first week, and I've so far made it about 100 pages into the book, and I set it down because one, I just wasn't super engrossed in the book itself, but also for the month of November, I was kind of reading different themed books every week. So this one I plan to come back to, if not within the next few days, then in December for sure. The second one is The Parisian by Isabella Hamad. This book is a chunky one. I'm about a third of the way through this one. 160 pages in, and the writing is very dense and it's kind of just taking me a while to get through. I've set this book down now maybe a month or two ago, probably closer to 2 months ago. I set this book down and I just haven't had the desire really to pick it up yet. I feel it took me so long just to read that first part, and while I find the story kind of interesting, it's not super compelling me to keep going. So I've kind of debated back and forth whether I want to finish this book or not. If I don't finish it by next month, then I think I might just DNF it, because I don't know, just nothing is really super compelling me at the moment to read the book. I don't know if the timing's wrong or what. But this one, it takes place during the First World War, and we're following Medat Kamal. He's our main character from the Middle East, moving into Europe as the Second World War is starting. So this is a historical fiction book. So yeah, I'm just not sure if it's me or the book. I'm gonna give it another chance though and see if after I read maybe another 50 pages or so, whether I want to continue on or not with this one. Then the last of the 3 is New Daughters of Africa by this is edited by Margaret Busby. There's actually a bunch of authors that are featured in this anthology. It's an international anthology of writing by women of African descent, and this book I think about a third of the way in as well. I'm about 300 pages in of 1,000 pages, so I have quite a bit to go. I set this book down for no other reason than I just had other books that I was wanting to get to, and I wasn't in a huge rush to finish this book. So I would ideally though like to finish it so that I'm not carrying any books over into next year, but if I didn't, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. I want to read it when I'm in the mood for it, not force myself to read it. The next question is a good reason why I should have done this tag 2 months ago or whatever, but like I said, I'm better late than never. So it's, do you have an autumnal, I don't know why I can't say that, book to transition into the end of the year? Even if I had thought about that, I don't even know if I have an answer for that, an autumnal book. I really have to think about this. The only one that comes to mind for me is Anne of Green Gables by L.M. Montgomery. I have a whole collection of Anne of Green Gables books back here. I can just grab one to show you guys. This is the Wordsworth edition, and this is my childhood favorite, the most reread book that I own, a book that I talk about a lot on my channel, I feel like. Hopefully you guys don't get bored, or hopefully you guys enjoy this book if you've read it too. But I feel like the writing and the settings and the nostalgia for me are what make this a good autumnal book. I didn't read it this year, but next year I do have plans to reread this book, so I'll probably read it next fall. Also, just for the autumn time, fall time in general, and I would say going into winter too is the time of the year that I'm more into wanting to read mystery thriller books. Like I read them pretty generally throughout the year, but I do read a larger quantity of them, I feel like, during this time of the year. The next question is, what are 3 books that you want to read before the end of the year? Besides the 3 that I just showed you guys, I have pulled out a TBR stack for the month of December. I'm actually going to be recording that right after this, so that video should be going up within the next few days. Just to mention 3 of the books though that are going to be on that video. One that I'm wanting to get to is Starlight by Hannah Lee Kidder. This is a short story collection. It's very small, which I'm trying to add some smaller books onto my list for next month, which I'll explain why a little bit later. But this book was actually sent to me from the author herself, and I believe she's also a booktuber here as well. I'll try to, if I can remember, leave a link to her information down below. But yeah, she sent this in exchange for a review, and I'm really excited because I do enjoy short story collections. The other one is one that's been on my to-be-read list multiple times this year, and that is The Rage of Dragons by Evan Winter. The sequel just came out this month, and so now I can actually binge both of them back to back if I so desire. So I hopefully in December can get to The Rage of Dragons, which this is like a epic fantasy. This book is a Black-based epic fantasy novel that I have heard nothing but good things about, and I'm really excited to get to this one. And the other one is a mystery thriller that I've had on my to-be-read list for forever. This one is a Swedish crime thriller, and that's The Crow Girl by Eric Axel Sund. This one, the cover obviously really intrigued me, but I haven't really read too much Swedish thrillers, so I really want to give this one a try. The story starts off with them finding the body of a young boy who's been abused in a park, and the detective who is trying to figure out the case. And I feel like this will be like a dark book, and like I mentioned before, during the like winter time I like to read books like that, so I hope that this will fulfill that for me. Next is there a book you think could still shock you and become your favorite book of the year? When I was looking at these questions a couple weeks ago, I didn't think really that there was going to be any. If I had to give an answer, I probably would have said The Rage of Dragons, but so actually I have a different answer for that now. The book I'm currently reading, which I can still count because I haven't finished it yet, I'm only about halfway in, is The Warmth of Other Suns by Isabel Wilkerson. It's the epic story of America's Great Migration. So this book is a nonfiction book, and I just can't wait to talk about this in a wrap-up. I'm going to try not to be too lengthy about it here now, just because I'm still reading it. This is a nonfiction book that is probably going to be my favorite book of the year. It's probably going to be one of my top favorite books of all time, and I had that feeling when I was about like 100 pages or less even into the book. I just knew I loved the writing. So I went into this book, like I said, I'm gonna try not to talk too much about it, or else this is just gonna be too much, and I'm still gonna talk about it in my wrap up. But I went into the book thinking like I was gonna annotate all these notes and stuff, and I had like my highlighters and pens and stuff ready, thinking it was gonna be more of a like analytical type of look at the Great Migration, but we're actually following the narrative of 3 different characters, well actually real life people who migrated from the South to different parts of the United States during different parts of the Great Migration for whatever reasons. They each have their own reasons, and it's so well told. It's like I'm reading a fiction book pretty much. It gives me that kind of feeling, and that doesn't happen very often when I'm reading nonfiction, which I enjoy nonfiction, but I don't really find that I read it the same way as fiction. Whereas this one, it's not exactly like reading fiction, but it's very close, and I just love this book. I cannot recommend it more. This is one of those rare books, like I feel like I know I'm going to give this 5 stars. It's one of those books I feel like I will universally recommend to everyone to read. Like there isn't someone that I don't think wouldn't enjoy this book. And so yeah, I'm going to cut myself off there because this is not a standalone review for this book, but yes, is there a book that could shock you and become my favorite book of the year this late into the year? Yes, it's going to be this book. And I don't feel like the second half of this book is going to change my mind, but it definitely shocked me because I knew I was going to probably enjoy it, but I didn't know I was going to enjoy it this much, in that it was gonna become this much of a favorite for me. So the very last question is, have you already started making reading plans for 2021? And the answer to this is kind of yes, kind of no. I've definitely been thinking about it in the back of my head, but I don't have anything specific. Kind of along the same lines of what I was trying to do this year, I'm really trying to work on getting my physical TBR down. I will have a more in-depth video more towards the end of December once I have all my thoughts and plans together of what I plan to do for next year. Like I have a few different ideas of things. Like I know that, but they're kind of vague. So like I know I want to do some rereads of some of my favorite books next year to see if they hold up still, if I still feel like they are my favorite books or not. I specifically have, you guys can't see it from this angle, but I have another shelf that I have organized pretty much into like the rainbow bookshelves, and my goal kind of for that and my shelf right here, my series shelf, is by the end of the year to not have any books double stacked. So I do have quite a few books that I'm double stacking right now because I don't have room. So that means I really need to work on my physical TBR. Like I said, I'll have more specific numbers and percentages once I've like really sat down and thought about it. Right now, everything is just really vague plans for 2020. Not 2020, 2021. But also, I guess one of my reading plans would be, every year I always participate in the Goodreads reading challenge. This is the first year that I'm actually going to be hitting 200 maybe. I'm like really close. It just depends on how my reading goes in the month of December or not. But either way, this is the most books I've ever read in one year. And so you would think next year I'd maybe want to try and bump it up, but I don't think so. I think next year I kind of want to go for maybe quality over quantity. I don't know. I don't know exactly what I'm trying to say, but I don't think I'm going to set my Goodreads goal for 200 for next year, because this year I had it at 100 and I bumped it up to 150 or 200 or something, and now I think next year I'm just gonna go back to setting it at 100 still, and that's just my goal for the year. So those are my reading plans for 2021. They can always change obviously as the year goes on. As this year has shown, it's not the greatest to plan too much ahead because things can drastically change in ways you do not expect. So those are all the questions for the end of the year book tag. Let me know if you guys have done this tag as well, and I can go check it out on your channels too. Also, one question for you guys is, I would be interested to know is, what's like your favorite book that you've read so far for this year? Like for me, like I said, The Warmth of Other Suns is probably going to be my top book for the year, and I mean, something could change, you never know, but as of right now, that's where I'm at. So I'd really be interested to know if you guys have a favorite book you've read this year. So that's it for now. I'll see you guys in the next video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Bye!